Hey guys! Yes! Oh my gosh. I am so excited. Still a little nervous, but very excited. Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you. I just recorded a 42-minute video that was going to be a follow-up to my last video. And I was just like, that is way too long. And just no, it wasn't gonna happen. So I'm gonna try to keep this relatively short. I wanna start by thanking everybody that commented and everybody that made me realize that, wow, like, I definitely did the right thing by like saying what I felt about Star Wars, The Last Jedi, because I just felt so much emotion, mainly disappointment, coming from that. And I just felt like I was hitting a wall because I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to process it. I was in a very emotional place. And I know that that sounds maybe silly or trivial to say about something about Star Wars, but to me, Star Wars is very near and dear to my heart. And it was kind of devastating. Scratch that. It was devastating to watch The Last Jedi for me. On that note, it was also devastating to watch the Solo trailer. I don't know how you guys feel about that. But anyway, like I said, I just made like a 42-minute video and I had to scratch it because it was way too long. And I just want you guys to know that I really appreciate all of you for like commenting and actually having this conversation with me, because this is like, this YouTube video comment section has been some of the best conversation I've heard about Star Wars so far. And it's really exciting because I feel like more than anything else, Star Wars is harder for me to talk about with other Star Wars fans. And it's really interesting to say that out loud, because you would think that if you're a Star Wars fan, you're automatically on the same page, but that's not how it goes. Star Wars is an extraordinarily polarizing thing. It's just, I mean, I'm sure there's a better word for it, but there is a huge divide between Star Wars fans, and it's, you know, it's a difficult thing to deal with. And I felt like I was running up against a wall trying to process it on my own. And even one of my favorite comments that I've gotten so far has been about how he felt like he was making snarky remarks on other videos and just leaving comments. And that's what I was doing. I was so upset and trying to process it. And I've thought about making YouTube videos in the past, like, but never like actually like concretely enough to do it. And ironically enough, most things I've thought about making videos for has been something to do with Star Wars, and just felt like, I was like, why not? What could go wrong? Like, Star Wars is something I love and feel so deeply, you know, what could go wrong? I mean, there are lots of other things that I would love to talk about. I consider myself a fairly interesting person. I have a wide variety of interests, and like, but for me, Star Wars runs deep. So it's really, it's been a beautiful thing to talk about with you guys. And I wanted to get as many comments as I could before making this second video, because I wanted to see what people were saying and what kind of feedback I would get. And I was really shocked, honestly, that I didn't get like any. To be real, I really thought that I was gonna get some trolls or just mean, like, judgmental comments, and I didn't. So I'm really happy about that. My first comment was a bit of a critique, but I consider that constructive because he gave me a lot of good pointers about having structure to my videos, which I'm sorry I haven't done that so far, but I've improved a few other things if you haven't noticed. This is a much less questionable camera angle. Yes, it's still a high angle, but I don't have like a tripod or any lights. I have a light, like a really old light like right in front of the camera here. It's the last video I filmed in daylight, and it was really, you know, like brighter outside. Right now it's like harsh fluorescent like apartment living light. So I'm sorry if it's not as, you know, well lit, but it's not a vertical video. It's a better camera angle. I'm looking at my video right now. I haven't actually watched my original video. I'm kind of scared too, and it's long. I was not intending to record a 30-minute video ranting about The Last Jedi, but if you guys watched that one, I definitely got into a lot more than just that. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about, was I would love to talk more about these things. Another comment I got on here was a suggestion to do a video on what could have been improved upon in making The Last Jedi. And I would love to talk about that. I feel like that'd be a really good video. That'd be really interesting. Now that I realize that what I aimed to do got me the results that I ideally wanted, which is a discussion and a platform to talk about this together and hear other people's opinions and other people's input and actually have people validate what I'm feeling. Like, oh my gosh, I could not have asked for anything better. I'm so happy, because Star Wars really is, like, I don't know if I've mentioned it often enough, but Star Wars really is like deeply, like, I'm not a religious person, but Star Wars is like the Star Wars universe as depicted in the original trilogy is, to me, the closest depiction of reality as we know it. I know that sounds a little insane, but there's something deeper in the subtext, and underneath it all, which is very similar to the Force. There's something that binds the story structure and the characters and just the heart of the existence and the things that they're all going through separately, even down to something like Luke Skywalker's imagined life as a farm boy. Like, even the fact that he wasn't Darth Vader's son and that he didn't become a Jedi, even the fact that he had this small, seemingly insignificant existence as a farm boy but always wanted something more, just something like that resonates with me so strongly. But the fact that they had all these amazing adventures and tales of light and dark, beautiful. I could go on for days, which is exactly the problem with the last video I recorded that I'm not gonna put up, because it was just like, I liked it, but it was almost an hour long. I can't do that. I think I would get hate mail. But anyway, what I wanted to do today was to go through the comments that people left, because you guys had a lot of really interesting perspectives and insights into what I talked about, and some of your own original ideas that were really, really interesting and gave me some food for thought. So let's like go through some of that. My comment was that I apologize for the vertical video, poor sound quality, which is probably the same, if not worse, because now I feel like the space is even like wider. So sorry about that, but I'm filming on my cell phone. Whatever. I'm not PewDiePie. I'm sorry. I love PewDiePie, by the way. That's not a. He's awesome, and he started small, so who knows? Just kidding. Zero editing. Yeah, I'm not saying like if I didn't do more videos that I wouldn't eventually get around to doing editing and like maybe getting better lighting and sound and stuff, but I feel like right now it's not about all of that. This is my original trilogy, you guys. This is me just releasing my thoughts out there to you and to see what we can talk about and how we can process this together. And eventually, I would really love to get down to like some of the deeper issues underneath Star Wars. Like, I know Star Wars has a lot to do with philosophy, right? And their spirituality and mysticism, and there are a lot of other elements of Star Wars, but I mean like deeper than that. Like to the sense of like existentialism, and I don't know, just I want to go as deep as we can with Star Wars, if that's okay. Please don't make any sexual comments with that. The highest rated comment on here was by Alex 4 days ago, as of recording this video. I'm enjoying seeing more women speak out about the movie because I really can't stand the stereotype that only basement-dwelling man-children hated the movie. No, it's a very wide variety of people who dislike the movie, and not all of them are men. Exactly, right? I also like seeing people discuss their entirely valid reasons why they hate the movie. Yeah, it isn't just hating something for the sake of hating it. I wanted to love the movie, I really did, but that isn't how it worked out. I 100% agree with you. That's the reason 11 people upvoted this. I know that probably sounds small in the scope of like YouTube videos with like 1,000 upvotes, but that's the highest that's the highest rated comment here for that reason, because I exactly agree with that, and I can see where we're all kind of on the same page with this. We're like, something went wrong. Something went terribly, terribly, terribly wrong with The Last Jedi, and it's not okay. It's not okay for us. I know. Nervosa Nistrom, not my Star Wars. Agreed. Colin Najuk. I know I'm butchering that pronunciation, and I apologize. I firmly believe that Rian Johnson wrote TLJ in a place of ego and insecurity. I think he knew that he could never be remembered for creating a Star Wars film that would resonate like the original trilogy, but he could be remembered for destroying it, and just ran with that. Sounds like a Sith move to me. Dwayne Yutzi. This was... I loved all your guys' comments, but this was by far my bread and butter, because it resonated with me the most, in terms of like on that deep level where I'm just like, yes, that's exactly what Star Wars is to me too. And it's interesting because Dwayne prefers and really only cares for the original Star Wars, like not just the original trilogy, the original Star Wars, like A New Hope, like that's his Star Wars. And I just think that's really cool. So definitely, it's a longer comment, but I really highly suggest that you guys read through it because he brought up a lot of really interesting points. And I actually mentioned in my response to Dwayne that my favorite Star Wars is personally Empire, but it's a close second to A New Hope. Really close second, like neck and neck. I love them both so much. And I love elements of Return of the Jedi too. There are just a few things that kind of like, you know, not in love with, but I still love it. Eric Ortega had a great comment. Eric Ortega, yes, he was the one that suggested that I make a video on how I would change, or what changes I would make to The Last Jedi to make it more bearable film. I will take you up on that, sir, because that is an excellent, excellent, excellent idea. And I actually, when The Force Awakens came out, I know a lot of you guys probably didn't enjoy it, but I actually wrote a review on Rotten Tomatoes as an audience member for The Force Awakens because I really did. It might not have been my favorite Star Wars film at all, but it resonated with me and it felt like Star Wars. It felt like it happened in the Star Wars universe that I feel connected to. Because I know there's a whole lot of other stuff going on in the Star Wars universe. I know there are animated series and novels, and like I get that they're all happening in the Star Wars universe, but it doesn't feel authentic to me. And I know that a lot of people get up in this whole like George Lucas has the definitive vision of what Star Wars is, and either him, Lucasfilm, or whoever inherited the rights to Star Wars is the deciding factor. And I just don't agree with that. I think that's like saying that whoever wrote the first testament of the Bible is the only person who has authority over what makes, could you imagine if people still live by the Old Testament? The First Testament? Old Testament? I don't know. Like I said, I'm not religious. I'm a Star Wars person. I'm a Star Wars human. I live in the Star Wars universe, and the Force is my religion. The King of Ruckus, bless you. You're beautiful and goofy. You'll be just fine here on YouTube. Lol. Hope to see. That's the first time I said lol out loud, by the way. I've heard other people say that, and I always thought it sounded cute, but it just sounded really cringy. Saying that myself, so I apologize. I'm just gonna say LOL. Hope to see more posts from you in the future. Thank you. Here's one. I hope you love it, and I hope I'm, you know, as goofy as ever. I am a goofy person, and I love that you noticed that, because I feel like I think a lot of people think I'm super serious. I don't know if I just like give off that vibe in real life, but for some reason when I'm doing these videos, I feel like I can be myself, which is really weird. I think that's just the introvert in me. Wow, that's some food for thought. You guys are great. Thank you. Wild Tiger just made a smiley face. Thank you. That's very sweet. Oh, what's up? He gave a really good, he or she, I'm not sure, gave a really great breakdown of exactly why The Last Jedi sucks. And it's an excellent breakdown. I love it. I highly suggest you guys read it. And I will definitely reference that if and when I make my video about how to improve upon The Last Jedi. Tom King, you should be a model. Thank you. Anyway, the way you feel that prequel fans are not actual fans is the same way I feel about the new trilogy fans. It's been trash so far. It's done nothing but disrespect the original trilogy and fans. Agreed. The grueling Jedi training process has been thrown out the window in favor of magical characters that can suddenly do anything with the Force at will. Oh my gosh. This was my most... this was my biggest... Ray. I had hope for you, girl. I mean, you weren't my favorite, but like, I was like, okay, girl, I could get down with that, but nope. She ain't shit. I'm sorry, but like, she didn't do anything. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's another thing. I brought up in the other video. I brought up everything in the other video that I made, which was 42 minutes long, which, as I said, I'm not posting, but I'm worried I'm gonna miss some of the stuff that I talked about there. But one of the things that I said was, oh my god, I think I forgot what I was gonna say. No character development. That's a huge thing for me. None of the characters developed. Even Carrie, I was worried that Luke Skywalker was gonna die. I just had a feeling. Like, no one told me. I didn't look up any spoilers. I had a feeling. And it did break my heart when he died. Luke's my boy. If you notice, I'm wearing a Luke Skywalker Sword in the Stone mashup tee today. Yeah, get the binary sunset, and he's pulling a lightsaber out of a rock in his Tatooine garb. It's very cool. Luke Skywalker, as I mentioned in my previous video, is my hero and was my first crush, and is still my crush to this day. I know that's crazy. But Leia, oh my gosh, girl, like, I love Leia, but I did not care. This is how much it says about this, and this is just The Last Jedi. This isn't Leia. This isn't that I didn't care about Leia. I love Princess Leia. I would be devastated if she died. But in that early scene in the film, when she was like blasted into space and floating through space, I don't even remember if it was, honestly, it's all blurred. That film had no bones holding it together. It was just a blob. It was just blue goo that Luke was drinking. Honestly, it was just blue goo. That whole film was just blue glue. There was no structure. There was no character development. And when it looked like Princess Leia was gonna die, sorry, General Leia was gonna die, I didn't even care. I had no emotional investment in any of the characters in that film. Maybe a little bit for Luke. I didn't care if Rey died. I didn't care if Finn died. I didn't care if Poe died. I didn't care if Rose died. Rose, who the... Don't get me started. Anyway, I can talk about all that and more. But yeah, I totally agree with Tom King. Honestly, all of the comments, I agree with all of you. It's crazy. I agree with every single one of you, even those of you who pointed out holes in what I talked about, or not holes, but like gave me like constructive criticism on my structuring and stuff. Like, all valid points, like all really good. Like, thank you for this awesome conversation. It's been awesome. Peace Samethicus. I can't respect to cool names though. Whoa, the hotness. I had to avert my eyes just to listen and concentrate. That camera angle opened up my blast doors. That's funny because it's like a Star Wars pun. Blast doors. It's a double entendre. I get it. And it's funny because as I was recording the video, after I recorded the video and I was looking back at it, I was like, oh my gosh, that is not a good camera angle. I realized afterwards, I was like, I felt like it was good because it was like under my window. I was like, oh good, I'm getting some natural light. And like, obviously I'm still like sitting low, but it's not the same as like me kneeling and sitting low to the camera. I set myself up for that one, and frankly, I am shocked that I didn't get more comments about that. But this one was funny, so I appreciate. And he said, George gave us I agree with you on almost everything except the Hayden and Lucas bash, which if you didn't see the previous video, I did bash George Lucas a little bit, sorry. And I made fun of Hayden Christensen in the definitive editions, taking the place of the actor who played Anakin Skywalker as the Force ghost of Anakin Skywalker. And I'm sorry, but that still really bothers me. There's no reason for that. Hayden, really? Like, no. No. But yes, thank you for your comment. I love your comment. It's really cute. I looked, when I saw these comments, I went to everybody's like YouTube page just to see if I could like get an idea of like their personality. And the guy who left that comment was like, I really appreciate you because you had like I don't remember if it was like your subscriptions or your likes were a lot of like stoner videos and stuff, which like I like that. I appreciate that. So that's really cool. You guys are all great though. Thank you. Agent Morgan, this was my one and only really like critical comment, which I appreciate. I'm actually going to give it a heart right now because I just realized I gave everyone else a heart except you, but I really appreciate that, so thank you. When I first read it, it like hurt me. Oops, I'm not replying right now. How do I get rid of that screen? When I first read it, I was like, ouch, because it was my first comment, and it was like, I was like, oh, it's everything I was scared that I would suck at. But I did a lot of thinking. I was like, wow, he's right. He's got a lot of really good points. So Agent Morgan, 2010, you said, I got about halfway through pretty much purely on the virtue of you being nice to look at. You seem to be much better at articulating your points via text. Consider maybe practicing your presentation a little more and try to follow like a script or an outline of some kind with bullet points to keep you on track and to prevent you from going off the rails before you try to do another kind of off-the-cuff thing like this. Just a suggestion, but I'm pretty much on the same page as you. Here's my favorite review I've seen so far on the tubes, if you're interested. And he has a link here, and I clicked on the link, but I haven't watched the video. It is in my watch later. I will watch it, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. But anyway, like, I just want to thank all of you guys for, like, talking with me about this, because it has not been easy to talk about, oh my gosh, to get through this. Like, it's hard, and this is really helping me process it, and I hope it's doing the same for you guys. And I would love to make more videos regarding Star Wars and other films, and I don't know, let's stick to Star Wars now, because I feel like that's what got me on this platform in the first place. Like, I would really love to keep talking about this and discussing and having these conversations. I wasn't really sure where this was going to go. I thought this would probably just be one and done, honestly, of just me like venting. But the fact that it got so many people engaged and so many people agreeing, or if they didn't agree, at least offering their insight or their perspective, that's so cool. So I covered a lot more in the other version of this that I did today, but you know what? Like, let's just get this out there and talk about what I heard back from you guys, because like that's what really made my day. Real quick. Oh, I sent a note to myself on my email. I have my iPad here in front of me. Okay. Some different points that I want to talk about in future videos. Let me know what you guys think about this. The first one I have is Star Wars isn't about good versus evil, which is what a lot of people chalk it up to. Oh, it's the quintessential good versus evil. Light side and dark side. People equate light side and dark side with good versus evil. And one thing that I love about the original trilogy, and I get that they might get at that with others, but like I really feel like there's a certain bend towards evil. I don't know if they ever use the term evil, but yeah, they do, obviously. But But I don't think they actually feed the dark side with evil. It's the psychological and emotional steps towards the dark side that look like evil or could be defined as evil, but they're not. It's like pain and suffering and fear. So I would love to talk about what's deeper about light and dark versus good versus evil. I would also love to talk about the frickin' stereotype that people have. I love Star Trek. I don't love it the way I love Star Wars, but I really enjoy Star Trek. I think it's really well done and well written. But the Trekkies get on a real high horse about it being a more intellectual and more intelligently written films and television than Star Wars, and I would like to counter that. I have some very interesting points I'd like to run by you with that. First and foremost being that Star Trek is still exploring and trying to work towards all of these crushing racial and gender oriented and sexual oriented and species oriented isms, racism and sexism and speciesism. They're still working to a place where they can all explore the galaxy together, or the universe together, and there's always these tensions between different people. And in the Star Wars universe, and Star Trek takes place in the future, but in the Star Wars universe, it's a long time ago. It's a long time ago. And they don't even need to talk about that kind of stuff. They're actually past it. Han Solo's best friend is a Wookiee. They talk to droids like they're people. I mean, yeah, the Mos Eisley Cantina is like, your kind isn't allowed here, or their kind isn't allowed here, whatever. That's interesting. But they're not actually living organisms. So like the biggest stereotype you see is against androids, because you see them being used for parts, and it's a very similar like thing to like the big thing on Tatooine that the Jawas drive. It's like kind of like a slave ship or whatever. And it's so funny that SJWs have like, not that I'm against SJWs, like it's great that y'all are like organizing for peace and equality and everything, but like don't fuck with Star Wars. Like Star Wars was a socially justified art piece. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna get flack for this, but look at the Empire. They're all old white men trying to oppress people. And like, yeah, Leia was wearing a bikini in Return of the Jedi, but she ripped that fucking thing off and put on her comfortable clothes as soon as she got done choking the jerk that put her in it. What's more female empowerment than that? She had agency. Of course, Rey's covered up and wearing, clothing everywhere, and Rose has unflattering, stiff clothing of a mechanic the whole time. But come on, like Leia was wearing a bikini and she was freaking badass. I'm sorry, but that's freaking cool. Anyway, oh my gosh, I'm getting off topic again. I would also like to talk about, these are my notes again, Star Wars as a religious experience. That sounds crazy, but I promise you, it's not. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put that away because it's just distracting me. Oh my god, the light is so bright right now. Let me put it back again. Yeah, this is not flattering light. This is not flattering sound quality. This is not a flattering video overall, I'm sure. I know that it could be better. But you know what, guys? This is important. This is important stuff that we need to be talking about right here, and we're talking about it, and it's awesome. And I really appreciate all of you for talking about it with me, and just like, yeah, you guys are awesome. I feel really good. Got home from a long day of work today, and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna make another video. So here you guys go. I hope you really enjoy it. Give me more feedback. Let me know what you think. Further suggestions, and I'll try to get another one out there. If this one does well, I mean, I feel like I'll still get another one out there. Even if this one gets like 5 views, I feel like I still want to like keep talking about this, even if it's for my own sanity. So, my own emotional processing of how terrible Star Wars is. So anyway, yeah, may the Force... I'm going home. May the Force be with you, all of you.